I used to think that wealth meant having the latest gadgets, the nicest cars, the biggest houses, like all the stuff that you see on TV. But the reality was, I was always stressed about money. I'd get a knot in my stomach every time I'd go to the store and swipe the card, just because I was thinking about whether I actually had enough to cover my purchases. My house was overflowing with stuff, but I just felt empty inside. And it was like this hamster wheel where I would buy something, I'd feel happy for a moment, and then once that dopamine wore off, I felt like I needed something else to fill that void. I was basically drowning in debt and just working to pay the bills, living paycheck to paycheck. And it wasn't just all the clutter and the mess that was getting to me. I just felt trapped. It was like day in and day out was the same thing, cleaning up after everybody, not having enough time for myself, just trying to get by. I felt like I was a robot and I was just going through the motions, and that this was how it was supposed to be because that's what everyone does. But at the end of the day, I was just depressed and sad, and I felt like I was failing as a mom, a wife, and just a person in general. Like, yes, I was making a lot of money, but I had nothing to show for it except for all of this stuff that I just wasn't even using. There was one day in particular that I was just so stressed about the clutter, about the bills, about just everything, and my kids asked to play with me and I snapped. I couldn't. And I realized at that moment that something needed to change, that this could not be the way that life was meant to be lived. There had to be a better way. It was around this time that I stumbled upon Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And reading through it, it's like a switch flipped in my mind. It basically made me think about stuff in a different way, and considering the fact that maybe it was all this physical stuff that was weighing me down. So I started with my closet. It was filled to the brim. It was filled to the brim. This was somewhere in 2018. Starting every day was a battle because there was just so much stuff like oozing out of my closet. It couldn't even all fit. So I started with that. It took me like 3 days. But after I did that, it was like a huge weight was lifted, because in the morning I could just get up and just reach in my closet and pick something out. What a fascinating concept. That really took away like mental clutter too, because there was no visual clutter to start my day. And I was able to just get off to a better start every day, and it felt so good. It felt amazing. And then I was like, what else in my house can I get rid of that I don't need, that is just taking up space, that I have just accumulated over the years? Suddenly it became like this obsession, like a fire was lit under my butt and I just wanted to get rid of all the excess. And then a funny thing happened. I started having more time to do other things, because I wasn't spending all this time trying to manage a bunch of junk, trying to move things around, trying to find things that I needed that were buried under stuff I didn't need, trying to clean up so much after my kids because there was less stuff to clean up. Like, everything was just like intertwined. So with all the decluttering and realizing how little I need to be happy, and that we just don't need all this junk in our house, my wallet got a lot fatter. So I started learning more about financial literacy, what I should be doing with this money, like, saving, investing, all of that stuff, because we actually had options. Money is just a tool, and it's not about like being obsessed with it, but it's about using it as a tool to basically get back some more of your time, to be able to have more time with your family, with your friends, to do the things that you really want to do. Like, how can you leverage your money to be able to buy back your time? And so I learned a lot. I self-educated, and that was great. I think one thing I would have done differently is like get a financial advisor at that time, just so I could easily know my options. Not necessarily to have them manage anything for me, but just to get an outside view of what I could be doing with my money. So that's something I was able to do recently with Nectarine, who's sponsoring this video. They have a network of financial advisors that are just available at your fingertips. You can go through them, see which one jives with you based on their experience, what they specialize in, and then you can have a no strings attached consultation with them, like a 1 hour, where they go over your current financial health and offer suggestions for things you can do with your money or ways that you can tackle your debt, things like that, and just educate you on anything that you're not sure about so that you know what your options are for saving, for investing. I want to basically build up assets now that allow me to have a lot more time freedom now. So I still wanna work, I still wanna do the YouTube, I still want to, do the real estate, but it's like, okay, how can we get to where we want to be with, what we're making currently and things like that. So I was able to get a game plan in place, what I need to do over the next few months to get into a better financial situation and then be able to invest more and perhaps purchase more real estate, things like that. So having a third-party perspective on my finances and where we are and where we want to be, it was a really good thing, and I'm glad that I did it. And I feel like it's something I would probably want to do like maybe every 6 months or so, like as needed, based on like when things might change with our finances. You can have one meeting or you could buy a plan where you have multiple meetings, but the advisors are not trying to sell you anything. There's no products involved or anything. It's just straight up financial advice that is catered to your current situation, whatever you're going through, whatever questions you might have. To me, it's a great way to get straight up, no nonsense advice based on your particular financial situation. They have advisors that specialize more in like planning long-term for retirement. There's also, you can see some that specialize in working with business owners, millennials, Gen X. If you are interested at all, definitely check it out using my link below. But yeah, let's continue on with the video. Because I had more time on my hands, I learned about real estate and I was able to start acquiring rental properties. If you've been with me on this channel for the last few years, you saw I randomly like basically decluttered my first house, what we thought was our forever home. We decluttered it so much that we were like, we don't really need this big of a house. And then Zillow was like, well, your house is worth a lot if you'd like to make a profit during this pandemic. And we were like, you know what, Zillow, that's a good idea. And then this whole thing happened where we just started moving into duplexes and things. And it has not been like super easy, but I am glad that I'm on this path rather than just staying comfortable. Like, I've learned so much over the last few years. I've grown so much as a person. I've developed so much more resilience. Just the things that I've been able to experience, both good and bad. And I wouldn't trade it for the world because I am a stronger, better person, I feel like, at the end of the day, because I took those risks and I learned a lot. And I feel like you don't fail unless you don't get back up. And I'm gonna just keep getting up and keep trying new things and keep going forward because I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I've made some bad choices, but I know that everything is figure-outable and I can only move forward. And that's kind of the fun about it too, is just like seeing what you're capable of. And yeah, I'm 41 now, but like I feel so much more proud of myself now that I have tried all these other things, to be able to say that, yeah, I tried that and it didn't go great, but it's okay. I learned so much for it. And then just pivot as needed. I never would have been like this like 20 years ago. So I am so glad that this all has been happening. At the end of the day, what I take away from everything is that minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's actually about creating space for more of what you actually want in your life, like what actually matters. And realizing too that so much of what we thought mattered really doesn't. And that's kind of what makes us feel empty when we're not filling our cup with the things that matter. So I realized I was just in this cycle and I needed to break out, and that's what minimalism helped me to accomplish. Thanks to minimalism, I have a life that is rich in experiences and growth, not just possessions. So yeah, how about you? What is something that you would like more of in your own life? And what do you need to get rid of? What's weighing you down, guys? I would love to hear from you. Let's start a conversation. Let's talk about this so that we can get you to where you want to be, rich in what matters to you. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.